am Gabby.
I'm Tiger.
And this is Page to Frame, where we talk about book to movie adaptations.
And today's talk is about the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, the prequel of The Hunger Games.
This is
still my pretty book.
Yes.
I heard that book.
To keep it with the
It's
collection.
shiny.
Yeah, that one is kind of shiny in comparison.
The other ones are too, actually.
So, A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is, of course, a prequel to the phenomenal movies that are The Hunger Games. And this book, in particular, follows a Coriolanus Snow. If you know...
Evil dude.
Yeah, I was like, and if you don't know who that is, that is the big bad of The Hunger Games. And in this one, we're supposed to relate to him. It's kind of showing the evolution of being good towards evil type of situation. And of course, they made a movie about it because it's The Hunger Games and it's a franchise, and why not? You know?
They always make good money out of franchises, so why not?
Now, I will say this is one of the rare occasions that I did read the book first before watching the movie, and I don't like when I do that because then I become very critical of the movie and I don't really give it a chance. Now, this last time that we saw it, because I have watched it twice, I was a lot more like, okay, we got only like 3.5 hours for a 16-hour book. Let's go. Let's see how they do it. So what is your first impression of this book or movie, Jess?
This is the first time reading the book and my first time watching the movie. So for the book so far, it's really slow pace in the first little bit. The first scene in the movie is definitely not in the beginning of the book. It's a little bit more deep in the book. And it's a really quick thing, but I think they put it in the beginning to get the attention of everybody. So it wasn't as slow for everybody, in my opinion. I think that's exactly why they did that.
No, yeah, and also to keep it linear, because once you do one flashback, then flashbacks are expected in the film, and it's like the only flashback that we get. So sometimes it's better to just keep it linear for that reason. Now, I have heard a lot of people say that they very much like the...
I put spoiler alert.
Oh, yes, just a heads up. We will be spoiling things about the book and movie.
If you haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I just realized this is a very fairly new book and movie. So it is understandable if people haven't watched it or haven't seen it. But online, I've been seeing a lot of people praising the movie more than the book because, like you said, there is a lot of slow pace in the book.
It's ad. Those of you who don't know, this is Kronos. It's a crazy dog.
A lot of people on the internet, back on track, I've been seeing actually really do like the movie more than the books. Rewatching it will agree, except for like one or two moments. But for the most part, yeah, like the things that they took out of the movie, when the movie first came out, I was like, if Mockingjay is 10 hours and they broke that up into 2 movies, this is a 16-hour audiobook. This has to be split up into 2 movies.
They should have.
Here's the thing, though. And I think it's because they learned from Mockingjay. They learned. Because I believe it's the same crew from...
It is. It's the same director.
Yeah, so...
Don't mind that.
So, the part of the Mockingjay is that at that time we had things like Harry Potter were splitting everything in half, Twilight was splitting everything in half, Divergence tried and epically failed at splitting it in half.
Divergence didn't even get that far though.
Yeah, there was 3 movies apparently, according to that thing. And it was supposed to have a 4th because the 3rd book was split up into two, and it just failed. The third movie was, I think, direct to TV anyways.
Yeah, I think they had a different director for the third movie, and he terribly failed at it.
Well, I
fell asleep.
I honestly think that the director for Divergence, the second one, just quit. And then they, that's hard to take up a new mantle. I'm sorry, it's hard. Of course, the director for Hunger Games did a fantastic job, in which he was asked to come back for Mockingjay 1 and 2, and now even A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. 3 out of the 4 Hunger Game movies have had the same director. Here's the thing, though, is in A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, you have the Hunger Game first. Like, the Hunger Game is your front and center, and then you get your political talk at the end. Like, the actual corruption of Coriolanus, like the evilness that he becomes, is at the end of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And in Mockingjay, you have the weird possible evilness, the propaganda at the beginning of the book. And you have the Hunger Games at the end of the book. And through box office, which I didn't actually get the actual numbers, but I do know that Mockingjay Part 1 did the worst in sales all across, both domestically and internationally, than any of the Hunger Games movies. Because it did not have a Hunger Games, like it didn't have an actual Hunger Games. It was very different than the other movies. It was kind of a standalone satirical type of film about propaganda. And because of that, it didn't succeed as well. So imagine if you would have broken up A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, you would have had to end it with the ending of the Hunger Games. Like, I think the only break part would have been either you do it the moment Lucy Gray wins, and then you kind of have like a similar scene of Katniss going down and seeing Peeta and seeing that he's hijacked. You would then have a scene where when President Snow, or in this case Coriolanus Snow, because he's not president yet, goes down the hall expecting to see Lucy Gray, and then finds out that he got found out for being a cheater. And then that's where you would cut to black. Here's the thing. I wouldn't watch the second movie. As a reader of the books, and I know exactly what happens I wouldn't. Like, that's okay. The Hunger Games already ended. That was the Hunger Games. Don't need the rest. So I think because of that, and that is, I think, one of the strongest reasons why they made it into one film, and I do think it was rather long for the film that it was, but it gave enough information and did, I think, the book justice enough to then justify, making this movie. Now, what do I want? A Finnick movie? Do I want a Haymitch movie? Yes.
I agree with those.
But yeah, and you're right, it does start off not very differently, but the fact that they talk about how people, how horrible the war was, I think you still had to understand that, and that Coriolanus went as a small child understanding that, to understand their hatred for the capital, and the kind of suffering that he now goes through as an adult. Is personally, I think, what works. So one of the things that I will say about the narrative of like Coriolanus being innocent and then turned evil is not anything new. Like Star Wars did it, where they wanted Anakin to be pure.
That's exactly what I thought of. I thought of it. I was like, they did exactly what Star Wars did.
Yeah, so it is a very familiar trope in the idea of something very good becoming something very evil. Now, there's a lot of things in which, in the book...
He doesn't go back good. At all.
Well, to be fair, I don't think Anakin wasn't supposed to be good at the end.
Well, he goes back good at the end.
Yeah, but George Lucas never planned on that. He was just trying to do the good turn to evil. And then when the third movie came out, he gave him a little bit of a redemption, and then he realized how much Anakin was loved as a Jedi version of himself. So he was like, all right, we're gonna just lean into this, where he's a good guy again, because he comes out in Ahsoka and stuff like that. So like, they didn't realize how much people actually did like Anakin, but a lot of people like Anakin in the Clone Wars versus the movies, which is why Ahsoka episode 5 was the episode to watch.
I haven't seen it. Don't ruin it for me.
I got so mad because that is the only one that they put in theaters. And there was a showing in literally the theater that me and my brother go to all the time. And I didn't know. Because it was like that night only for that one time. And I was like, imagine seeing this episode in just a big screen. I would have loved it. Just... oh, now I have to rent a whole theater just to see it. Experience that. I will one day.
I feel like I will. I'll get the money and I'll do it.
Yes.
Don't dare me.
Well, no, my boss has done it. He's rented out a screening at a movie theater. Yeah, like luckily we have worked with enough movie theaters in post side and marketing and doing all their videos and stuff that yeah, it's possible. Just in the future when we have the ability to do that type of thing. And who knows, maybe we'll do it where we rent out a theater for our 1-year anniversary and have like our followers and subscribers and everything come join us in this one event. I don't know, it'd be a fun event to do. I don't know, I'm just coming up with ideas. But either way, yes, so Coriolanus goes from good to evil, and in the book you see it a lot more, but I do think, again, seeing it for the second time again, I do think Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is a really good job for the short amount of time that they have.
I do agree with that. They do have pretty good fluid transition for as much as they cover. You see a little bit where they, I think they went a little fast, but it's hard to tell if you haven't read the book.
You're right.
I give it that.
So, like, the scene, which I was thrown off on even at the second time watching it, was when the, what's the friend called?
Seamus?
No.
Seamus?
No. Sir Jamis. James?
Sir Jamis. I was like, how do you freaking say it again?
Sir Janus, I think. Ah. Yeah, the dude that was district born and still loves the districts, okay?
Yeah. I knew who you were talking about. I was like, how do you say it?
So, in the books, when they go feed people, first of all, Coriolanus didn't even know that that's what Sir Janus was there to do, was feed people. Second of all, they hadn't gone with their classmates yet. Later, down a few days later, they do go to the zoo and they start feeding their own tributes, and that's when the incident happens again. Spoiler warning for Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. That one chick dies. And then her tribute gets killed. Because she killed her mentor.
Yep.
And so that was interesting. That like threw me off, that scene, like they merged it together. But looking back on it, there was really no way to not merge those together.
Yeah.
And I think what helped this movie a lot in it not feeling as rushed as maybe we as the book readers feel like it was that in the first 2 Hunger Game movies, both Hunger Games and Catching Fire, we established that it's only a few days of training, right? It's like maybe 3 days from reaping to the games, is what the movie version of Hunger Games has kind of established. We know as the book readers, it's like 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks in this time. But what the book or what the movies have established is that it's quick. It's only a few days. You only get a few scenes of the putting them into the Hunger Games. Because for the most part, it's about the Hunger Games. You know?
Yeah.
So,
but it's not like they couldn't fast forward it or anything because I don't know.
Well, I mean, they did fast forward it quite a bit. because there were several days in between that. They ended up merging it together and they made it all go quicker. I mean, they didn't even mention that half the tributes died in the bombing.
I know. And I was like, they didn't mention all that, like half, yeah.
Now, it was semi-implied that, either, tributes were injured or possibly have died, because I did think they mentioned that they killed like 3 of them for trying to escape, and Reaper, or one of them, Marcus was the one that escaped, and he was the only one that escaped or whatever. So they do kind of mention that. And again, so I think they give you enough information that if you're paying attention, you won't be totally lost. You won't be as lost, which is always great to see and great to, like, I don't know, be a part of. And then
they didn't mention any of the ones that died other than that one.
The beginning one, right? The first one that
they didn't mention any others, and they didn't show like the big deals that they made out of their funerals or anything.
Okay,
which I mean, I guess I get, but
yeah, I was like, timing wise, I get that, and it was more to shape Coriolanus to who he becomes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That really does shape it, because it shows the big spectacle that makes the difference between the two, the districts and the capital.
Yep. And so
because they like parade them around.
So President Snow's wife is there, who he ends up marrying is there. So she's the one that gets it's Livia Cardew. So she's the mentor for District 1 male. So her tribute gets killed in the bombing right away, which is why she literally only has the one scene in the movie where they start naming who what mentor gets what tribute, and she's like all excited with her blonde hair, and she's like, oh my god, I got the cream of the crop, got the best. And she's the one in the book that is mad that Reaper stays with the lizard chick, the snake chick.
Oh yeah,
the friend that gets bitten by the snakes. So yeah,
and they didn't even mention that she comes back.
No, they show her. She's a chinita. She's a chinita.
I don't remember them showing her that she came back into the movie.
Yeah, they show her. They have like a little moment in the, like, when they're in the Hunger Games. But again, her role was also very small. It wasn't like big. But yeah, Livia Cardew was the one that was like, whoa, she's sick with the flu. Why can't I get her tribute? Or why can't we then replace someone with another district kid? Like, why can't we get more tributes or whatever?
Yeah.
Because she really, really wanted a mentor. She was a bitch. Literally, Coriolanus marries her and ends up with her because he's like, there's no way in a million years I will ever care for this person. I hate her so much. Like, the chick that got stung by the snake, that's my friend. I could maybe see something. So no. The other chick, yeah, we were allies, we were friends, maybe, no. That person, I know I will never get along with. I have hated her my whole life. I'm gonna marry her, so I never have to be worried about love. That's literally why he marries her. It's at the end of the book. It's at the end. But yeah, because after the whole Lucy Gray thing happens, he's like, I don't want to ever be manipulated.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. Which, I love the idea that the thing you love the most is what
That's why that statement at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Which is very true.
Yeah, I mean, he loved Lucy Gray so much that he cheated for her. He broke all his rules for her just to keep her alive. And then, he then feels betrayed. And, I mean, it doesn't fully play out the same way in the movie than it does in the books, but I do think there is some implication. Like, because in the books, it's more like Lucy Gray kind of jokes that she's like the only loose end. And then he's like, well, you wouldn't tell on me because you love me. You're loyal to me. And then she does bolt for it.
Yep.
And she does go away from him. And like they kind of show it in the movies, but in the books, it like literally shows you where she left the catnip that she was supposed to be grabbing. Where she like there were implications that she straight up ran. And so because of that, like me, paranoid, like she just joked about outing me. I don't think I could trust her anymore. Like after everything that I've done for her, and she's here like joking about outing me to the government she says she hates. Like, what?
Yeah, after all that he did, you know.
Now I don't know if he would have been honest about Sir Janus, if she would have maybe not made that joke. But there is implications that after she asked who the third person that he killed was.
Well, there was even really 3. There was 2 people there
And Sir Janus.
behind the bar. And I guess he blamed himself for the Janus.
No. So there's 2. There's the mayor's daughter, and there's the kid in the arena, and then there's the Sir Janus. Now, in the books, it is more apparent that
Well, there was a guy too, her boyfriend guy.
Yeah, but he didn't
So I
kill
guess
him.
that's 4.
He didn't kill him.
Thought he did.
No, the other dude kills him. In the book, it actually tells you that the other dude kills him. But in the movie, it goes so fast that you don't really process. But no. The other guy kills him, and that's what freaks him out, and that's why he's like, well, shit, like, fuck, I'm gonna, like, kill her, like, he's about to out me and Lucy Gray, like, ah. And, so there's that, and then, what happens? No, wait, Snow kills the mayor's daughter first, and then the other dude freaks out, and then the guy that they were with kills the boyfriend. That's why they were looking for the weapons, because it was 2 different guns that killed. Like,
Yeah.
And then, so, like, that's kind of like, eh. But no, yeah, so, what you find out in the books is that Coriolanus is the one that tells everybody that they should, because he hates the Mockingjays. Like, he hates them. Like, ever since that person gets hung and, like, his voice echoes and his lover's voice echoes, he hates them from then. It's like, oh, is this what's gonna happen every time there's a hanging? But no, I want them gone. I want these birds dead. So then he contacts Gull, the scientist, and goes, hey, you know how you want those Mockingjays, and you know how you said that they were like an accidental thing, and they're probably like your worst creation, like the thing you're kind of embarrassed about? Yeah, hey, you should order us peacekeepers to kill them as target practice. And then we'll send them to you so you can experiment on them and stuff. And so she does. She makes them, she makes them be a drill. And so when he manipulates Sir Janus into admitting that he was doing some rebel stuff, he does send that to Gaul knowing that it was going to Gaul. Now, he was hoping that his father got notified and then they would both get, like, taken away. He did not actually expect them to hang him. Like, he thought Sir Janus's father would be notified. Sir Janus's father then would pay a lot of money, get him out of District 12 and Snow out of District 12, and then they would go somewhere else.
Makes sense.
Is more or less what he was thinking worst case happened, right? But what actually happened is he gets hanged and he's like, oh shit.
Yeah, and instantly regrets it.
But that's what Gaul says is like, oh, that's funny that the Plinths are helping you when they don't know that you're the one that outed their son.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think...
I got that when he sent the bird there.
Yeah.
The Mockingjay.
Now, what they don't clarify, and I kind of wish there was a way to do it. I think they kind of hinted to it in the movie as much as they could without flat out telling you. But what happened is after Sir Janus dies, after he goes back to the capital, because you know how they go change of plans. Well, he didn't know what the change of plans was. He was expecting to go to District 2, but then he was sent to the capital. When he returns to the capital, Sir Janus's parents go to Coriolanus and go, I know you were best friends with our son. We'll make you a deal. We have lost a child. You have lost a parent. If you let us treat you like our child, you will want for nothing. And so what they end up doing is they end up paying all the taxes and the rent for the apartment of the Snows, like their penthouse. Mm-hmm. The Sir Janus's parents pay for that. They give it back to Coriolanus. And then they get either the floor below or they get next to him, basically. So then they can kind of live together. But still giving Coriolanus his his family home.
His space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what he does. That's what they end up doing. They literally adopt him without adopting him. And the reason for this is a lot of the things that you miss out in the third part of the book, because it is split up into 3, just like Mockingjay is. I think just like all of them are, actually.
Yeah, I think they all are.
Yeah, it's a 3-act structure, which I love.
3 parts.
What they show is a lot of you know how Ma sends them a basket of treats and stuff? So they constantly use that for instead of money, because they don't get that much money as peacekeepers. They get enough for the district, but for the capital, Coriolanus doesn't get enough to help his family out, right? So what they do is they start trading the sweets, every dessert that Ma gives Sir Janus splits it up between all their group of friends, which is 4 guys or 5, I don't remember, and they use it as currency in District 12. They start trading it for things or tickets or drinks or stuff like that instead of using their own money. So this is it goes on for a couple of weeks to the point where Sir Janus actually does meet Lucy Gray, does meet the Covey, and that's why he doesn't tell Lucy Gray that he feels responsible for Sir Janus, is because she got attached to Sir Janus. She saw Sir Janus as a friend, a very close friend. So his fear of why he didn't tell her was because he was afraid that that's something that she wouldn't either be able to understand or forgive and completely see his fault. Even though he was still in the middle ground of was it my fault? Was it not my fault?
That makes more sense because it doesn't show that in the movie at all.
Yeah. So yeah, no.
At all.
In the book, it's a lot more time has passed. I think the whole school year has passed in the 3rd act. Because when he goes back, it's
because a year has passed.
Yeah. So yeah, throughout this time, you're seeing how they're all becoming friends. They're all getting to know each other. Lucy Gray's cousin really likes Sir Janus. Not in a romantic way, just this dude's really cool. You are too, Corio, but he's really nice. And then they start doing things he starts doing rebellious things even before this. And that's why Corio says hey, you need to stop this because they're gonna hang me, not you.
Yep. They're gonna hang together.
Yeah, which is a fair thing, because I think he, in the book, I can't remember correctly, but he might have gotten punished for something Sir Janus did, and I think that's when Sir Janus is oh yeah.
Well, it shows in the movie and in the book that, I know in the movie they sent him to go and get him from the arena.
Oh yeah.
In the book, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. Yeah, because in the book, the mom goes to Coriolanus.
Yeah, she goes to. I was at that part actually.
Yeah, so she goes there.
Instead of the doctor, the head game maker asking him in the book, the mom goes to the house.
No, both things happen.
Both things happen?
In the book, yeah. So what happens is that the mom goes to Coriolanus' home looking for him. The TV is still on because they're still monitoring the Hunger Games. And then she goes, oh, never mind. I found my son. He's right there.
It's on the TV. Yep.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, fudge. And then he gets a phone call from the game maker going like, hey, do you know where your bestie is? And he's like, he ain't my bestie. He's my acquaintance. He is a person that I know. There's no proof he's my bestie. In a very Corio way, right? Not like that, but that's the subtext of it, right? Like, no, we're just acquaintances. He's not my best friend. What do you want? And he's like, oh, well, he's gotten himself into a bit of trouble. And we're looking for his mom. And he's like, she's right here. Oh, really? Your not best friend's mother is right there in front of you. Yep. And then they're like, cool, can you both meet us at the, either it's like the game maker's like lab, or I think it was the entrance to it was the entrance to the arena. And then that's when they're like, cool, now go get him. And the mom protests. She's like, no, Corio is not going in there. I'm his mother. I will go get him, okay? Not Coriolanus. I am not going to put another child in danger. And then the game maker is just like looking at him like, there you go.
You go do it.
Go do that. And so that's why he goes or whatever. And then that's why she's kind of like already there when they like leave, is because she had gone with Corio to that place, and they were both
originally,
yeah, in the book they had both gone at the same time there. And it's funny though because Coriolanus' mom hates Sejanus' mom, because when she goes there she's like, this is an odd time to be coming, so it's a little late. How about you go find your son somewhere else? And for Tigris is like, Grandma, what do you want? It's late at night. I don't know what's going on. My son don't talk to her son. Go in. And then that's when, the whole TV thing and the call and then. But, yeah. Now, what I do love about the movie that I can't remember if the book does as well is Tigris. Tigris is so beautiful in the movie in the sense that she says at the beginning of the movie, a lot of people say you look like your dad, but you don't have to. Like, you don't have to be as ruthless. And then, at the end of the movie, when he's like, how do I look, Tigris? Exactly like your father.
Yep.
Meaning,
I think they played that really well.
I was like that. And the reason that I love it, seeing it again, is because when I found out, before reading the books, before watching the movie, I was like, how is it that Tigris betrayed her cousin? Because Tigris is the one that hides Katniss in her shop. She's the one that kind of smirks when Katniss says that she's gonna kill President Snow. Like, what cousin smirks at the fact that you're like, oh, you wanna kill my cousin?
Not only that, she helped take care of him and sacrificed a lot for him.
Yeah. So, yeah, but this was before the books. Like, I didn't understand before I read the books and anything like that. Like, how could a cousin, like, when it was announced that Tigris was the cousin of Coriolanus Snow, I was like, well, how could that turn into that? Like, that's family, that's blood, that's like, and then you read the book and you're like, okay, I'm really confused at how that's possible that Tigris could betray her only cousin, her only family, her only blood that she helped raise and make into the man that he is. And it's the idea that In the book, even in the book, when I saw it and when I read it, I was like, I still don't get it. I don't get it. It is until I saw the movie and I saw the actress's look on her face and that line where she says, you look exactly like your father, that I'm like, she stopped seeing him as the child that she protected and started seeing him as a ruthless man that raised both her and him that they hated. And that's when it moved. Like, that's when the switch happened. And so I'm like, okay. I like that character arc. I can believe that character. But I weirdly enough believed it more in the movie than I did in the book.
So you can actually see it?
Well, not only because you could see it, but there's a lot of, like, subtext. There's a lot of, like, things within things. And, I don't know. I feel like they really very much played Tigress very well in the movie.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Yep. Do I have other notes? Let me see.
I do agree with that 100%. They played her, they picked a really good actress. Even though she didn't have as much scenes as she did in the book, the scenes they had her in, she did phenomenal.
Yeah, they used them very wisely and very smart. Like, I do think that every scene that they had her in furthered her character arc. Now, I was just looking at my notes, and one of the things from the very beginning, which I kind of wish they would have made more clearly, but maybe they did. I don't know. Tell me your opinion. In the book, it is very clear that the mentors did not think their input would be taken into consideration. Like, I think Snow says something, and he's like, oh, that's a clever idea. And they're like, wait, are you really gonna do that? Like, are you really gonna implement that? And she's like, why not? What's his face was y'all's age when he came up with the Hunger Games. So yeah, if there's a good idea that you guys choose, we might actually implement them. And that's kind of how in the books that happened. And in the movie, it's more like, I'm a student, but I can influence the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
And it's like something I know that the movie has been made fun of a little bit is like, why are these high school kids being listened to about their advice? When in reality in the book, like, they weren't originally. What happened was that they were given the opportunity and they ran with it. And it really...
Because of their family standing and their academic.
Well, no, I just think that they were the mentors, so they were the only ones the Game Maker was kind of interacting with. And I honestly think it could have been any capital person, as long as it was a good idea. Mm. Like, I don't think
they were just giving opportunity because they were the mentors. Like I said, because they were the higher of the academics in their class.
Well, yeah, they were the 24 highest ranking students, which is always interesting. And I do find it interesting that the plinth prize was the thing that they're supposed to gain if they win the Hunger Games, when that's not really what happened. So the plinth prize was whoever did the best or whatever. But then the plinths did another prize where they would give the full right to the winner of the Hunger Games in the book. In the book, they did that where... because Sir Janus went into the thing or whatever, after that, as what Coriolanus thinks is like a fix-it, like a cleanup job, is that they then did a scholarship to whoever wins the Hunger Games, that mentor will have a full ride to the academy. And the reason that Coriolanus liked that one more than the plinth prize is because the plinth prize was still the plinth's money, but it was the Game Maker and the director dude, the one that, what's his name plays? The drunk. What's his name? What's the main antagonist? Huh?
Highbottom.
Yes, Dean Highbottom. There we go. I was trying to remember what the name. So the Dean and the Game Maker, mainly the Dean, was responsible for the plinth prize. He was the one that was responsible whether or not Coriolanus gets the plinth prize or not. He was the one that determined that. Which in the movie he does say that, and he's like, well, I don't care if you win. Like,
you're not gonna get it.
Yeah. But in the books, that wasn't his, because there was a second prize where the prince reward for winning the Hunger Games would be a full ride to the academy. And that one was like, that was the only requirement, is that you win the Hunger Games. And by then, Mason had already been eliminated. He had already been killed in the Hunger Games. This was more of a cleanup job because Sir Janus went inside the Hunger Games and they got pissed. So like, okay, we'll give the winner a full ride. Now can my son be forgiven? Cool. Okay, great. He can be forgiven, yeah. And that's kind of the thing that happened. So that one was out of Dean Highbottom's control, and which is why he was even more motivated for Lucy Gray to win. Because that he knew that he couldn't really win the Plinth Prize, but he could win that one because the only requirement is winning. And then another thing that the movie does that I'm kind of happy about, because it doesn't make sense that it was never established in the book. At least I don't remember it being established in the books. But Dean Highbottoms literally says at the beginning of the mentorship, if you cheat, you won't have a future.
Yeah.
In the book, I don't remember any such line. Like,
I don't remember that either.
Yeah, it's just more of a sportsmanship thing. Not really like it's against the rules to cheat. It's just like the rules that they were already creating were not allowing them to cheat, right? Like the rules of, yes, you can provide food to your tribute, but it has to be from a sponsor, and that sponsor cannot be related to the mentor, so that the families of the mentors didn't just like fund their tributes, which is what the book does. So like that's where it stops the richer mentors from cheating, because they could have easily cheated.
Yep.
On that. So it was never implied that if you cheated, bad things would happen. It was more implied that that it just was not sportsmanship. Like they were above that idea. Like I don't think it ever even crossed their minds. And I don't like that because of how sneaky and snaky all of them are supposed to be. That I kind of like personally. But yeah, so that's one thing that I really like that they changed in the book, that he did that. Now, I wish another thing that they would have changed in the Hunger Games part is that Jessup's like death was Coriolanus kind of fault. He sends him, like he begs his mentor to send him water, and that's what kills Jessup. Well, it spooks him and then he falls and kills him. So what really happens is Coriolanus, or at least in the book how it happens, is Coriolanus figures out that water is bad, like it will scare Jessup, so he starts sending it to Lucy Gray. But after like the third or fourth one that he sends, Jessup's mentor is like, stop, don't do it, let me. He's my tribute, let me do that. And she herself volunteers to then do that. And he says like, why would he do that? And he's like, if Jessup was in his right mind, he would have asked me to do it. But he's not, so I have to do it for him. And so she sends a ton of water to scare him, and he then dies. And then she gets scared that Lucy Gray's like, he's gonna die alone. So the reason that Jessup's mentor is so close to him is because when the bombings happened, Jessup protected her.
Yes.
He saved her. So in doing that, the mentor actually did become very loyal to Jessup. So she did start to worry, like, oh my god, he's about to die by himself. And that's when Coriolanus is like, Lucy Gray would never let that happen. And then you have that scene where, you know, Lucy Gray's like, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere, like, I'm here. And so he doesn't die alone. And so she's like really grateful about that. And then she then sends Lucy Gray food. Like, technically it's still to Jessup, but like, Lucy Gray was the one that's gonna eat it, you know?
Yeah.
She does that. Like, she uses the rest of her money that the sponsors have given her to give to Lucy Gray. So I kind of wish that would have happened more that way than it does in the movie, because it's a self-sacrifice and it shows a good person in the Capitol. But
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think the reason that they didn't do it that way, and I think that they had Coriolanus beg her to do the self-sacrifice, like to destroy her own chances of winning, is because there is not supposed to be good guys in the capital. Like, I think Tigris is the only good person in the capital that they're reflecting in the movie. And I think the only reason for that is that we know in Mockingjay she's a good guy.
That's true.
But other than that, I think the movie, because it had such a short amount of time, and it's supposed to, like, this idea of these are venomous snakes that are influencing Coriolanus to become this evil person, that aside from Serjanus and aside from Tigris, everyone else is evil, out for themselves.
But there are still other people, because, I mean, look at the other game maker who ends up years later turning on the capital.
Yeah.
Because I don't see the harm that would have had somebody else still do it.
Wait, what? Repeat that one more time?
That showing that scene, that there still were other people that were capable of kindness.
Yeah, but I think the idea that the filmmakers were trying to do was more that in Coriolanus' world, in the cream of the crop, there weren't. At least not in those times. Because it was so close to the war. Maybe later on, and definitely like Serjanus and stuff like that, was definitely like the good in the capital, but every time it was looked at as a negative. Like his friend was always getting Coriolanus into trouble. So it's that yin and yang, right? Like his friends got stung and cheated. Oh, that was another thing with the snake thing. I hated that scene too, because it made his friend seem like the villain of the story. That was another incident where his classmate was actually a decent human being, and they show her in the movie to be evil. So the chick that gets bitten by the snakes in the movie, when Clemencia or something like Clem.
Yeah, Clemencia.
Yeah, well, he calls her Clem. So Clem, when Dr. Gol asks who wrote it in the movie, Clem goes like, "Oh, I did. I'm the one that did it. I'm the one that, wrote the paper. I just had Snow printed out." But in the book, if I'm remembering correctly, it was actually Coriolanus that lies. No, I am remembering that correctly. So Coriolanus is the one that goes, "Oh, well, we did it together. It was a group assignment. It was like all of us or whatever." And he kind of helps her lie about, "Oh, yeah, we were at my house and I printed it. Like, we used my printer, but I gave it to Coriolanus to bring in so that it looks more equal for both of us, right?" And so they both lie together. It's like their lie to help it seem like it's not a bad thing. But because before that, right, she's like, "Oh, fudge, I'm gonna be in trouble," and Corio's like, "No, it's cool. I'll help you out. Like, I'll be your friend or whatever." And so then she gets bitten and nearly dies because of their lie.
Yep.
And so every time something good happens, or he tries to do good, something negative happens. And so I think, like, that's the one thing I do like about the book, where it shows that side of it, where it shows, like, him going, like, there's more positives in being evil than there are being good, if that makes sense. So I really do hate that they took that away, that they made it more like she was a bee. And of course, she was the one that's, like, just watching the movie, I felt very happy that Clem got attacked. Yeah. Because of how it played out. And then I remembered the book and I was like, actually, I was very sad when that happened to Clem. So was Coriolanus, actually. And,
he was.
And like, so they had...
he was all worried. He went looking for her.
Yes, and then he was... he only went looking for her once, and then that's it. He never really did it again. Which is why Clem got mad. And it was like, what the F, man? Like, you knew what happened.
Well, she came looking for him then.
She did after the fact. But then
Yeah.
they make up and they're like all friends, and they like start wishing that Reaper and Lucy Gray could be like allied so that they could work together. But they're like, yeah, we have no control of that. I was like, yeah, no, the two powerhouses are not going to ally themselves. Not this late in the game. And there's like only 4 tributes left. Like, you guys are being silly. Like, huh?
Not this far into it.
Yeah, I was like, maybe you had a chance before, and stuff like that. But yeah, no, so I felt like the movie more than the book. The book kind of showed, like I said, every time Corio tried to do something good, something terrible would happen.
I don't want Snickers.
So no, yeah. So that's kind of what I think with the difference really with the book and the movie is that the journey of Coriolanus in the book is more slow and more innocent. It's kind of like, well, every time he tried to do good, something horrific would happen. And every time he cheated or did something bad, he got rewarded. So, and even the one time that he thought he didn't get rewarded, Sir Janus makes him see how he was rewarded.
I can see that.
So, like, that stuff, to me personally, was like, oh, okay. But in the movie, I feel like it's more like Coriolanus was surrounded by vipers. So, of course, he was going to become a viper himself. He had to survive.
Yeah. Most definitely.
So I think those subtle differences is what makes me still see him kind of as a villain in the movie version. But in the book version, I'm like, poor Corio. He just tried to do good. But yeah, those are all my thoughts.
There's definitely a lot that they cut out. But they obviously needed to make the movie not be 5 hours long.
It was already 3.
And not be super, super slow.
That's true. Not entertaining, boring.
Oh, because you can only hold people's attention for so long. That's why most movies before used to only be an hour and a half.
90 minutes, baby.
Yeah, that was the era we really grew up in, and now it's longer.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Lord of the Rings was 3 hours each movie.
Yeah.
Now I can't
Those
get...
are long books too.
Yeah. Now I can't get through a Lord of the Rings movie. I'm like, are we done?
You know that's going to be one of the ones that's probably going to be brought up, right?
Who knows? Are y'all requesting it? If you request it, we'll do it. We'll do it.
I know somebody asked me that already.
Oh, okay. And I know we've gotten requested for Love Actually. Or Love at First Sight.
Yes, Emily asked that one.
Yeah, Emily asked for that one.
I think we might start using Facebook and TikTok, telling you which ones will be our next one. Twitter and all that kind of stuff, the media.
Now, we do have our affiliate to Amazon, so we will be putting our affiliate links down below. And then once we do decide what our next book will be, we will also be putting affiliate links for that one. So you guys can follow along using either the audiobook, the hard book, paperback, or Kindle. And of course the movies that go along with both of those books, so that you can go ahead and follow along with us and kind of read and watch with us, so that maybe in the future you guys can comment or let us know or hit us up on any of our social medias that again will also be linked down below, so that we can make this a more communicative space, a more everybody's opinions rather than just two.
Us talking to each other?
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, I liked it last time when, what was it, Jupiter was adding her input?
Yeah, I should have told her we were streaming.
Yep. No, so yeah. So, I mean, it's not that I don't mind us discussing things. It's just like, it's always better when we have other perspectives outside of our own, and our community is allowed to interact with their opinions.
Most definitely.
That's all I'm
I
saying.
completely agree with that. For a book about Coriolanus Snow, it's a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be, to be honest.
That's fair. I definitely want to see a Finnick one. I want to see a prequel to Finnick. But the one I really want to see is a prequel to Haymages, only because that would be 48 tributes. Okay, signing off.
Have a good night or good day.